Most of us already know the basics of being healthy. Eat better, drink more water, move more, sleep properly, stop overeating. But knowing what to do and actually doing it are two completely different things. I am not a doctor, I'm not a nutritionist, I am not a health guru. I am just a man on my own journey with health and nutrition, learning as I go, testing what makes sense, what works for me. We are all different, and different things will work for different people. I am here to share the information that helps me understand my body better, because sometimes the message is not new. Sometimes we have heard it 100 times before, but then one day we hear it from the right voice. We hear it in the right way. We hear it at the right time, and something finally clicks. And that is the purpose of this channel. Not perfection, not preaching, just learning out loud. So hopefully people can learn or gain some understanding, and hopefully making health feel clearer, more practical and more human. So if the message resonates, if the delivery helps, or if this is the kind of content you want more of, like the video, subscribe to the channel and share it with someone you think might need to hear it. I'm Leon Figures, and I hope you enjoy this video on some of the health benefits of drinking water. I've looked up some credible sources and provide a brief summary of what I found, but I encourage you to look at them yourselves and apply your knowledge to your health journey. Water affects things people complain about: swelling, puffiness, feeling bloated, feeling like the body is holding water. And this is where people get confused, because they think, if I'm retaining water, why would drinking more water help? Because the body does not retain fluid simply because water exists. The body retains fluid when it believes fluid balance is threatened. That is a very different thing. Your kidneys are constantly deciding how much sodium to hold, how much water to hold, how much to excrete. They are basically your fluid management department. When hydration is poor, the body activates fluid conserving hormones such as antidiuretic hormone and aldosterone. These hormones tell the kidneys, hold on to water, do not waste fluid, preserve what we have. That can contribute to puffiness, bloating, swollen fingers, swollen ankles, that general sensation of water retention. So paradoxically, too little water can encourage the body to cling to water more aggressively, because internally the body thinks resources are scarce. Adequate hydration sends the opposite message. There is enough incoming fluid. Emergency conservation is not necessary. You can release excess more efficiently. You can regulate more normally. That is basic renal physiology. Now obviously, and this is an important honesty note, not all swelling is solved by drinking water. The NHS defines edema as swelling caused by excess fluid trapped in the body's tissues. If somebody has heart failure, kidney disease, lymphatic disease, injury or hormonal pathology, there can be bigger medical issues. Water is not some magical swelling cure, but in normal everyday fluid retention, where the body is simply managing sodium and water balance inefficiently, hydration can materially help, because one of the main organs responsible for correcting fluid imbalance is the kidney, and the kidneys need adequate circulating fluid to filter efficiently. So yes, too little water can encourage the body to cling to water. Now there's another important layer to this. Sodium dilution. When hydration is poor, sodium concentration in the bloodstream rises relatively. Not always because you suddenly ate more salt, but because there is less water available to dilute what is already there. Higher sodium concentration encourages the body to retain fluid in order to rebalance osmotic pressure. The body does not like that concentration being too high, so it starts holding water to compensate. Drinking water helps dilute sodium concentration. Drinking water helps normalize osmolarity. And drinking water helps reduce the hormonal drive to retain fluid, meaning less puffy holding, less of that bloated, waterlogged sensation people often complain about. So already you can see something important. Water retention is not always solved by avoiding water. Sometimes it is worsened by avoiding water. Now let's move this into the whole keeping the body clean language. People talk about detox teas. People talk about detox powders. People talk about detox juices. People talk about flat stomach cleanses. What we are actually talking about medically is waste filtration and waste removal, not mystical toxins. Actual, measurable, biological waste. Every minute of every day, your cells are producing waste products. Urea, creatinine, excess salts, acid byproducts, metabolic leftovers, general cellular rubbish the body no longer wants. Those wastes enter the bloodstream. Now this is where water becomes critically important. Water is the liquid medium carrying those wastes. Think about that. The body is basically the transport highway for all of this unwanted material. Without enough water, blood volume falls. Without enough water, circulation thickens. Without enough water, filtration efficiently drops. That transport network becomes less smooth. Now the kidneys come back into the picture again. Healthy kidneys filter enormous volumes of blood plasma every day. Roughly 180 litres of fluid move through the filtration process daily. The kidneys remove nitrogen waste. The kidneys remove excess electrolytes. The kidneys remove unwanted metabolites, and all of that gets turned into urine. But the filtration process depends on adequate fluid availability and blood flow. If hydration is poor, kidneys shift back into conservation mode. They conserve water. Urine becomes concentrated. Waste excretion becomes less efficient. That is why dark urine is such a common dehydration sign. It usually means the body is trying to remove waste with less flushing fluid available. So the waste becomes more concentrated. This is why UK and international renal guidance consistently emphasise hydration as essential for kidneys filtration, urinary waste clearance and reducing concentrated waste load. The kidneys are literally your internal waste processing plant, and water is the transportation fluid that allows the plant to flush. No water means less flushing, more concentration, more holding patterns, and this applies to the bowels too, not just urines, because stool holds water. Dehydration makes the colon strip moisture. Waste becomes harder. Waste becomes slower to eliminate. So when people talk about keeping the body clean, we're also talking about bowel waste not sitting and drying out in the colon for longer than it should. So let me give you the simplest analogy possible. The body is a city. The blood is the road network. The kidneys are the sewage treatment plant. The colon is the waste disposal line. And water is the transport medium connecting all of it. When water is low, distribution takes longer. When water is low, filtration gets slower. When water is low, waste gets held longer. When water is low, the whole city becomes less efficient. When water intake is adequate, transport becomes smoother. When water intake is adequate, flushing becomes easier. When water intake is adequate, Unnecessary retention becomes less likely. This is the medically defensible summary. Adequate water intake helps reduce swelling by allowing the kidneys to release retained fluid and regulate sodium balance, while also helping the body remove metabolic waste efficiently through urine, sweat, and bowel movements. This is established physiology. Water is one of the most basic biological requirements your body needs to function properly. Water supports blood volume. Water supports kidney filtration. Water supports bowel movement. Water supports appetite control. Water supports oxygen transport. Water supports headache prevention. Water supports immune defense. Water supports energy. Water supports skin function. Water supports metabolic efficiency. And when you do not get enough, your body does not always collapse. It quietly becomes less efficient. That is the danger. Sometimes dehydration feels like thirst, but sometimes it feels like tiredness. Sometimes it feels like poor concentration. Sometimes it feels like dark urine. Sometimes it feels like constipation. Sometimes it feels like headaches. Sometimes it feels like poor gym performance. Sometimes it feels like bloating. And sometimes it feels like dull skin. Here's the question: have you actually hydrated properly today? Because your body is not asking for magic, it's asking for the raw materials to do its job. I'm Leon Figures. I'd like to thank you for making it to the end of my video. This is part 3 of my 8 series on the health benefits of water. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you feel needs to hear it. You get one body. Fuel it properly. Until next time.